Today on the Bitcoin 5, a critical week for risk ahead, the Fed anticipated to inject $26.5 billion, the SpaceX IPO, Strategy's Treasury move, and this cycle, 5 fast signals shaping Bitcoin, markets, and the bigger monetary story. Before the stories, the Bitcoin price check. Current price, 64,000, solid 5.4% gain over the past 4 days, climbing from about $61,200, but the broader picture reveals deeper turbulence. The most striking movement is the 4-week decline of minus 17.6% from about $78,300, suggesting the recent rally might be a correction within a larger pullback, but there's always a chance this could be the beginning of a trend reversal. The first story sets the tone for today's market backdrop. The Bank of Japan is expected to raise rates to 1% on Monday, June the 16th, the highest level in 30 years, with the Federal Reserve meeting immediately afterward, with zero rate cut expectations and inflation at 4.2% and rising. The timing couldn't be worse for risk assets, as every major BOJ hike since 2024 has triggered sharp market sell-offs. What makes this particularly concerning is the Fed's position. In previous BOJ-driven sell-offs, the Fed was actively cutting rates, providing a cushion for markets. Story 2. Inflation is once again setting the market temperature. The Federal Reserve is set to inject $26.6 billion into the economy over the next 3 weeks. The announcement comes as inflation remains elevated at 4.2%, and the Fed faces mounting pressure to support liquidity without cutting rates. The timing is significant given next week's FOMC meeting and the broader macro uncertainty surrounding the Bank of Japan's rate decision. While $26.5 billion represents a relatively modest injection compared to pandemic-era programs, any increase in liquidity tends to benefit risk assets like Bitcoin. Story 3. The third story shows where the institutional conversation is shifting. SpaceX officially listed on Nasdaq under ticker SPCX at a $1.77 trillion valuation, making Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire with a personal stake worth over $866 billion. The company's journey from near bankruptcy in 2008 to the largest IPO in history includes the recent acquisition of xAI and ambitious plans to launch 1 million solar-powered satellites for space-based AI data centers. Michael Saylor congratulated Musk on the IPO, noting that 25% of the magnate now holds Bitcoin on the balance sheet, confirming SpaceX joins the ranks of major tech companies with Bitcoin Treasury positions. The move adds another major corporate holder to Bitcoin's institutional adoption narrative. SpaceX plans to use IPO proceeds to fund the satellite build-out, which Musk argues will provide the lowest cost AI compute within 2 to 3 years. With SpaceX revenue reaching $18.7 billion in 2025 and over 300 missions completed, the company's Bitcoin position could become a significant factor in corporate treasury strategy discussions. Story 4. Strategy is still the corporate treasury name to watch. Michael Saylor delivered a detailed explanation of how Bitcoin treasury companies should be evaluated, distinguishing between BPS, Bitcoin per share, and CB/BPS metrics. BPS measures Bitcoin per common share before senior claims, while CB/BPS measures it after senior claims, making CB the conservative risk metric and BPS the common equity growth metric. The key insight is amplification. With no debt or preferred shares, a Bitcoin treasury company should track Bitcoin like an ETF. For Bitcoin, the signal is that corporate balance sheet adoption is becoming more deliberate, more liquid, and more institutional. Story 5. The fifth story is a performance comparison with teeth. Market analyst Ash Crypto outlined why the current Bitcoin cycle broke nearly every historical pattern, calling it the most manipulated in history. Bitcoin made a new all-time high before the halving, sell in May and go away. Failed in 2025, the post-halving Q4 closed red, and altcoins bled against Bitcoin for 4 straight years, all unprecedented events. The analyst noted that these broken patterns convinced many that this cycle was different, leading to widespread adoption of 5 or 6 year cycle theories. All eyes on the latest developments in the coming days and weeks, and we'll be here to track it all in real time. That's today's Bitcoin 5. Let me know your favourite story from today in the comments below, and subscribe now so tomorrow's update lands directly in your feed. I'll see you tomorrow.